I didn't tell anyone how much the cruise cost. Not because I was hiding it, just because saying it out loud would have made it sound like something it wasn't. It wasn't a grand gesture. It wasn't generosity. It was calibration, an attempt to land, finally, in the right place inside a family that always felt slightly out of alignment with me. Dad turning 65 felt like a clean moment to try again. I picked the route carefully, quiet islands, not the crowded ones. Booked the balcony suite because he liked open water. Added excursions he'd never planned for himself. Even arranged a small cake for the second night, nothing embarrassing, just something simple with his name on it. I didn't ask for input. That had never worked before. I sent the itinerary to the group chat once everything was finalized. A few thumbs-up reactions. A "wow, fancy," from my cousin. Dad sent a voice note, short, appreciative in tone but already distracted by something in the background. It was enough. Or I told myself it was. The message came 3 days later, mid-afternoon, while I was at my desk. It wasn't even from him. "We gave your room to Lisa. She makes Dad laugh more. You can take the smaller one. Hope that's okay." No greeting, no hesitation. Just a quiet reshuffling, like moving a chair no one was sitting in. I read it twice. Not for clarity, just to feel how it landed. Lisa. She wasn't even family, a neighbor who had started showing up at birthdays a couple years ago. Loud, easy, always ready with a story. The kind of person people orbit around without thinking about why. I typed back, "Copy that." I didn't ask questions. Didn't explain anything. I just opened my laptop. The cruise line held everything under my account. Payments, names, room assignments. It took less than 20 minutes to undo all of it. Cabins canceled. Excursions removed. Dining reservations gone. Even the cake. There was a small cancellation option tucked into a corner of the page. I clicked it last. There was no rush in any of it. No anger in my hands. Just a steady sequence of decisions, each one feeling less like an action and more like a correction. By the time I closed the screen, the trip didn't exist anymore. No one noticed that night. Or the next day. It wasn't until 2 days later, when someone tried to check in online, that the calls started. I didn't answer. Not immediately. Instead, I made a different call. The house had been in my name for 3 years. A quiet arrangement after Dad retired early and things got complicated. I never made it a point. Never used it as leverage. It was just there. Until it wasn't just there. I spoke to the property manager I'd worked with before. Kept it simple. I'd be transitioning the occupancy, needed the locks changed. Needed inventory documented. Storage arranged for personal items. He didn't ask why. Just scheduled it. "Everything will be handled by the time they return," he said. His tone was neutral, procedural. It made the whole thing feel less personal than it actually was. That helped. When I finally answered the phone, it was my aunt. "What's going on with the cruise?" she asked, already halfway into frustration. "It's been canceled," I said. A pause. Then, "Canceled. Why?" I didn't explain. "There must be a mistake." "There isn't." She shifted tone softer now, like she was stepping into unfamiliar space. "You should have talked to us." I almost said something then. Something about how I had been talking, just in ways no one listened to. But I didn't. "I've made other arrangements for the house too," I said instead. Another pause. Longer this time. "What does that mean?" "It means when you get back, you'll need to coordinate with the property manager. He'll walk you through next steps." Her voice sharpened. "You can't just..." "I can," I said, not loudly, not aggressively, just clearly. There wasn't much after that. Just fragments of disbelief, questions that circled without landing anywhere. When they got back, everything was already in motion. The locks had been changed. Their things were packed, not thrown out, not mishandled. Just boxed, labeled, waiting in a storage unit nearby. The property manager met them at the house. Explained the situation in the same tone he'd used with me. Calm. Structured. Final. I wasn't there. I didn't need to be. He called me afterward, just to confirm everything had been completed. "It went as expected," he said. I thanked him. There were more messages after that. Some angry, some confused. A few that tried to soften things, as if this had all been a misunderstanding that could still be rewound. Dad left one voicemail. He didn't mention the cruise. Just said, "I didn't realize things were like this." I listened to it once. Then again. There was something honest in it. Not apologetic. Not defensive. Just late. I didn't call back right away. Not because I was trying to make a point, just because I didn't know what version of the relationship existed anymore. Weeks passed. The silence settled into something less sharp, not comfortable, but stable. I stopped replaying the message about Lisa. Stopped measuring moments against each other. For the first time in a long while, I wasn't adjusting myself to fit into a space that kept shifting. I had fewer conversations now, fewer obligations, but the ones I did have felt intentional. One evening, I opened the original cruise email again. The confirmation, still sitting there, even though everything it referred to was gone. I didn't feel regret. Just a kind of quiet recognition. It had never really been about the trip. And whatever came next, whether anything came next, I wouldn't be booking it for anyone else.